forth, so got a lot of things to catch up on. Uh, yeah, next Tuesday is voting, and all of you should go out and vote. Some of you may vote before class, after class, late in the evening, or not at all. But that is your American right to get out and do so. If you don't vote, don't ever complain about the state of the country or the state of the union or the state of the nation or the economy or your taxes. Just don't complain if you don't vote. All right, pre-registration is happening. If I'm your advisee, I've got a sign up sheet at my door. Please sign up, but please get signed up for spring. Now that is 5-point bonus on your exam if you pre-register for the spring. Yeah, whether you pre-register for accounting or not, these guys won't need to. They'll be through and finished now.
Like if like on this exam or the next exam or the final?
Extra course on this. I already got it. Yeah. Okay.
You'll get 5 points on this one if you're already pre-registered.
Oh, no. You get 5 points on the exam if you pre-register. I don't know how long pre-registration lasts. We should have been registered right on up through January 31st, probably, as they do things around here. But anyway, I guess this week Halloween is coming up too, isn't it?
Lawrence.
Yeah, tomorrow night. Did they not observe it over the weekend? They're going to observe it on Wednesday night.
I think so. Fall is from all up to Chicago Hill. From 6 to 8, you can go trick or treat.
I went down Knoxville. I was down Knoxville Saturday. I went cancer walk with my daughter. We walked 4 miles. 15,000 people were walking. Came when they were paying $25 a piece to walk. So they raised some money. But it was interesting, a little cold, but interesting. And then Saturday night I went down to Cleveland, Tennessee, and I took my youngest grandson through a spooky forest. It's sort of funny. There's people dressed up, silly costumes, coming out with chainsaws. It's not scary, it's funny. So, but anyhow, we have some questions, excuse me, pending this morning, but first off, let me give you a lowdown on the test. All right, I'm going to be pretty specific in what problems. And you have 20 multiple choice. Some of them will be problems, periodic, perpetual, and so forth. Periodic, special. All right. First problem is seller and buyer. Merchandise. First problem. You got the seller and you got the buyer. All right. Now, when a seller sells something, what does he do?
Go to debit, merchandise.
When he sells something, I'll give you the buyer. Okay, be the buyer. What's the buyer do when they buy merchandise?
Debits, merchandise, inventory.
Right, and credit.
Accounts receivable. Or accounts payable.
Okay. All right. To the other hand, the seller.
Debit sales.
Never ever say it.
Debit accounts receivable,
Right, and credit.
sales,
Right.
and then you debit cost of merchandise sold and credit merchandise.
Right. Okay, two in. All right. Then how about if the seller, Alexandra, if it's FOB shipping point, and the seller pays the freight.
I wasn't prepared for this question, it's too early in the morning.
Yeah. Okay, Margot?
Debit, delivery expense, and credit cash.
All right, if the seller pays the freight, if they deliver expense and credit cash, the seller would, sure. But that's if it's FOB destination. FOB destination, you have the right answer.
You add the shipping to the accounts receivable.
That's right. If it was shipping point, your debit account receivable, credit cash. And there'd be no entry on the buyer's books. All right. What if there is a return? Dylan? What the seller gets a return? What would you debit?
Return allowances.
Now, the old book has sales returns allowances. The new book has something about what refunds.
Customer.
All right, well, be careful with that, yeah. And of course, the buyer would debit account of accounts payable and credit merchandise inventory. All right, now remember the discounts. We recorded net, don't we? Now, some books had to do it both ways. You recorded at net or you recorded at gross. But I think you should take all those discounts. You have 210 net 30, 310 net 30, even 710 net 30 to take those discounts.
So when we did the test, it was like we bought it at 75 at, one net, or,
110 net 30.
should we record it at 7,500 or 99% of 7,500?
99%, record that net.
Okay.
All right, second problem is another entry on the buyer's side, buying merchandise. And problem 23 is on the seller's side, merchandise with sales discount. All right, with those entries on there, Margot and Kelly in the back have various questions, and I'll try to remember those as we go along. Margot asked about sales tax. All right, if you sell something for 10,000 to, instead of using two, let's get too generic. I'm gonna put 310 net 30 sales tax rate is equal to 5%. All right. Now we're going to sell $10,000 worth of merchandise. Its cost is, and what do we take sales tax on, net or cost? That's the first question. How much? What do we take sales tax on, net or gross?
I think we sold it for, right?
Gross. Gross. Take it on gross. Okay. Now, we know this entry, we would debit cost of merchandise sold and credit merchandise inventory for 7,000. Now, Kelly would calculate 5% of 10,000, and that should be, that's $500, isn't it? Okay, now we would also calculate 2% of 10,000. 3 changed it. That would be what, 300? Now, with those figures in mind, all right, we've got to record accounts receivable, somebody for how much? What do I record accounts receivable for? How much?
10,200. You had 500 regular price and pay the tax, and you take off the 300, right?
Well, you're thinking right. Okay, now without a discount, it would be 10,000 and 500, wouldn't it? Now, no discount with debit accounts receivable 10.5. We would credit sales for 10 and would credit sales tax payable for 500. But I told you we had a discount, and you're right. We take out that $300 discount. That leaves 10.2. So we'd debit accounts receivable for 10.2. We'd credit sales for 9,700. And then sales tax payable for 500. All right. So let's just do a couple here. All right, let's say we have sales of $5,000. No discount on this. The tax rate is 6%. What is it in West Virginia? 6 or 7%? And down in Tennessee, it's about 10. But Tennessee has no state income tax. West Virginia has state income tax. I know because I did a lot of them last spring through VITA. So sales tax rate is 6%, and the cost of this merchandise is $3,500. Now, everybody jot down the two necessary entries, please. Jot down the two necessary entries. You're wearing them shorts, aren't you?
Oh, yeah, it's gonna be a year-long thing.
30 degrees out there.
It's a year-long thing.
Is it? Okay. Oh, Xander up here is too. All right, Kelly, what did your debit accounts receivable for? How much? All right, your debit accounts receivable for 5,300. Don't get frustrated because I didn't hear you. All right, and your credit sales for how much?
5,000.
And your credit sales tax payable for how much? All right. Now, when you send this sales tax payable in, you debit sales tax payable and credit cash, and you send in the sales tax to the state that you're got a business in. All right. That's the story on sales tax. Kelly, any other question on sales tax? Does that help or? All right. All right. Now, Margot has a question, I think, on Cengage that we'll clear up in a minute. First off, let me give you more problems here. All right, problem 4 is perpetual. And you'll have to have those cards, those inventory cards. I'll furnish those. And you do it 2 ways. Problem 4, you do it 2 ways, perpetual.
So is that like LIFO? Would that be 2 ways?
All right, on perpetual, you have FIFO, LIFO, and average. I'll give you 2 of the 3.
Can it be LIFO?
Is that, can you go over weighted average? Is that going to be?
Yeah, that's what I'm.
That's what Margot requested.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Now, problem 5 is all 3 methods for all 3 methods for periodic. FIFO, LIFO, average. FIFO, LIFO, average.
So what's the difference between the perpetual and the periodic?
Do what now?
What's the difference between the two? The perpetual and the periodic?
Okay, just a second. Number 26, you'll have that inventory there, you'll have that turnover. You'll have that turnover and how many days you keep in inventory. Now, I told you you could have a page of notes, right? Those people out there on video, some of them will come in and take the test and they'll say, I didn't know you could have a page of notes. Well, I've announced it at least 2 days in a row, maybe 3. All right. Now,
The only difference between periodic and perpetual, right, is in periodic, you give us like all the stuff and we have to calculate everything like as it was at the end of the month. But perpetual is we're doing it at each day in the cycle.
that's right, Brian.
Okay.
Now, what he said, if I just gave you a beginning inventory of 1,000 units at $1, purchase one, 2,000 units at $2, and purchase two, 2,000 units at $3. Now, what Ron is saying under periodic, now we have 5,000 units here, and let's say you have 1,100 units left. All right. Now, we're not doing this daily. On perpetual, you'd have to have that card, and you have to do it daily after every purchase and after every sale. Here, it don't matter when I sold 3,900 units. I've got 5,000 for the month. I got 1,100 left. It doesn't matter what day I purchased, and it doesn't matter what day I sold.
So on this, we're gonna do FIFO, LIFO, and average. Periodic.
FIFO, LIFO, and average, periodic, yeah. Now, under FIFO, what units do I have left? Seth? What units do I have left? Okay. Dylan, what units do I have left?
Or no, it will be, 903.
Do what now? You had it right the first time.
1103.
Yeah. Under FIFO, I have 1,103 left. Now, that'd be 3,300. If I want my cost of merchandise sold, I subtract that from the total price I paid for everything. And we can go ahead and do that. That's 1,000, 4,000, and 6,000. That's 11,000. Now I'd subtract 3,300 from 11,000 to get my cost of merchandise sold. All right, now that is
7,700.
yeah. Now for LIFO, come in. For LIFO, what 1,100? Oh. Jacob, what 1,100 do we have left?
The first 1,102.
All right, under LIFO, we sold the last one. So we have 1,000 at $1, and we have 100 at $2. That would, okay, 1,200. And then my cost of merchandise sold would be what?
8,800.
How much?
8,800.
Okay, 8,800.
No, wait.
Yeah, that sounds right.
No, 9,800.
Yeah, 98. All right, we had 5,000 units and we paid 11,000. So give me the average cost. See, the average cost, Margot, on periodic's not hard, is it?
And then if you ask us to do profit, we just take, you'll give us how much money we actually made off of it. And we just take the cost of inventory sold, and that's our gross profit.
Yeah. So what is my, average cost here? 11,000 divided by 5,000 is, how much is that? $2 and what?
20 cents.
$2 and a half?
20 cents.
Huh?
$2.20.
20 cents. 220. All right. Now, if I want my ending inventory, I multiply 220 times 1,100, don't I? Now I can subtract that from 11,000, get my cost of merchandise sold. Or I can multiply 250 times the 3,900 I did sell. So are there any questions on periodic?
So what was we figuring out when we could take 1,100 times 220?
Sales and export.
What was we figuring out when we took 1,100 times 220? What was that figure?
That's the average merchandise inventory. That's the average price of the ending merchandise inventory. All right, got periodic straightened out. I did not give you lower of cost or market, or Pacific, but I may give you a retail method. I may add another problem to it, a retail method. We'll see. Okay. Now, perpetual. It's hard to illustrate perpetual on this thing. But instead of doing an inventory sheet, you don't have to have that inventory sheet. So we're going to try one without an inventory sheet. All right. Chapter 7, I guess. We're going to turn to any problem in chapter 7, any problem we haven't done, that is. Turn to page 388, please. All right. First problem is FIFO perpetual. Second problem is LIFO perpetual. And the third problem is weighted average perpetual. Well, we're going to look at weighted average perpetual. All right. And without that card, we've got 25 units at how much? At $1,200. Okay. And that's equal to how much? $30,000. Okay. Now, this is just inventory. And that's one thing we're interested in. And we're also interested in cost of merchandise sold. All right. Now, look what we did on the 8th. What did we do on the 8th? We bought how many?
75.
All right. We bought 75 at what?
1240.
And that gives me how much? 75 at 1240 is how much? All right, now folks, I want you to look. We purchased. We have to get an average every time we purchase. This is a little different than what you're doing on the card. All right. We have 100 units now, and the average cost of 100 units, somebody divide 100 units into $12,700. How much? Divide 100 into 12.7, what have you got? It's easy, it's 1,270, isn't it? Whoa,
Well, the total's 123.
that don't work. That works, 123. I don't know why I looked at, I don't know, I was trying to take 3 from 10 and get 7. All right, so my average cost is how much?
1230.
Which is between 1,200 and 1,240, closer to 1,240 because you had 75 units bought at 240. Now, that is your average cost up to that point. Now we're going to sell how many? 40? Now look at this, we're going to sell 40 and we're going to sell 30. Is that correct?
Yes.
And we're going to sell them at 1,230. All right, but my point is, how many do we have left? What is 30 times 1,230?
36,900.
30 what?
36,900.
All right, I'm doing this without the card to show you it can be done. And when you take these averages. All right, now we purchased on May the 8th, we purchased 60 units at how much?
1260.
That's equal to how much? They give it to you.
75.6.
So on this date, on May the 8th, all right, on 5/8, whatever year it is, we have 90 units. And we paid how much for those 90 units? $100 and what?
$112,000 or $112,500.
I have 90 units. I have 112,500. So divide one into the other, and what's my average cost?
$1250.
That came out even. All right. Now, do you see that I calculated average cost after a purchase? And not after a sale? Now, let me bring you this same problem up as a solution. It's just like 1A, 2A, and 3A. Well, it shows me 1A and 2A. Oh, here's 3B. Now, let's look at that on the card. Trying to get to zoom a little bit, but
Yeah, I don't like that. I
No.
like it.
you don't like what, dear?
I don't like doing it on the chart.
Oh, you don't?
No.
Well, you will have one or
Which
two,
one?
one or two.
What's it gonna be on?
I'll give you LIFO, FIFO, and perpetual, 2 out of 3. Okay. All right. Margot's hoping you won't have the average. Now, let's look at this same problem. We started out with 30,000 units. We bought 75. And the same way I've done it on the screen, now you have 100. And your cost is 93 plus 30, which gives you 123. Divide 123 by 100 and get 1230. Now you're going to sell 40 at 1230. You're going to sell 30 at 1230. That's going to leave you only 30 at 1230. And on April the 30th, your inventory is $36,900. Now on May the 28th, your inventory is $125,800. But to get there, we had this May purchase. 60 units plus 30 makes 90. All right. 36,900 plus 75.6 makes 112.5. All right, Margot, you need to practice that. And you have any blank inventory sheets left? You do? Okay. But just, you got to know, and this thing won't write on this, you're adding these 30 to these 60. Too bad this won't write. Okay. All right. But now when I get to the end of a perpetual, I will have my total cost of goods sold if I add up this column. And I'll have my ending inventory right here. It's cut off. Now, here, if we had sales of 525,000 and our cost of merchandise sold is 310, you subtract, you'll get gross profit. Gross profit. Some folks call it gross margin.
Which column do we add up again? The one in the.
You add this total cost up to get cost of goods sold, yes. Too bad my pen won't do what I want it to do, okay? All right. Now, when glancing through these, this 4 was the 3 methods. Five B was another first in, first out with a bunch of different units. That one's all messed up. All right, I wanted you to work an inventory problem and a retail problem. Turn to page 384. Try to do exercise 27 as soon as you can. Take a minute and do exercise 27, gross profit. Robert, you have anything on that yet?
I'm still working on it.
Has anybody got an answer on it yet?
205,000.
All right. Now, all he did was take merchandise available for sale and retail, and he subtracted cost of merchandise sold. No, that's a cost. That's 64% of 9,250,000. And that left him 205,000. All right, it was shorter than what you thought it was. You didn't have to set up the whole table. Had you done 26, you would have taken merchandise inventory beginning plus purchases and got merchandise available, 3,000,003. You take your sales, 4,000,004, and your gross profit is 35% of 4,000,004. And the difference is cost of merchandise sold. Subtract 2,886 from 3,003. It looks like it gives you 414,000.
Can you tell me how you did 27 again?
27, 28 are the same. Now it gave you, Margot, merchandise available for sale. It gave you sales of 9,250,000. The estimated gross profit was 36%. So your cost is 64%. Now you had your beginning inventory and purchases added together. You had merchandise available for sale of 6. So take 74% of your sales. 74% of sales. Do you see that right here? 74%. This is 74% of sales. Yeah, 64. Just see if you caught that. All right, 64% of sales. And subtract it from merchandise available, and you got the answer on that one. Very short. All right, the last thing we're going to do is practice one inventory turnover. I want you to look at exercise 7-20. Now, did we do that one for Apple and Mattel? We did, didn't we?
Yes.
We did. All right, did we do number 21? We did. All right, if we did both of those, there's no need to repeat them. Just back up and let me point them out to you again. I don't know what's happening to my alignment here, and it don't give me a.
Zoom out a little bit.
The what?
Zoom out, go back to where you just were.
I did. Yeah, I found it here. All right. Back to number 20. let's do 21, I guess. You take the cost of merchandise sold divided by average inventory, and you got 15.8. Now, and for Whole Foods, there was Kroger's, Sprouts, Whole Food. Now, here they got 24.2 days. Now, they did it this way, which is fine, but I told you, now that's for Kroger. Now, Kroger, take 15.08 and divide it into 365. Take 365 divided by 15.08. See what that gives you. The same thing, don't it? That's days your merchandise is tied up in the warehouse and inventory. Takes you that many days to sell it. Okay.
How did we get that 50.0?
How do we get what?
The 15.0.
That's just take a cost of merchandise sold, take your beginning and ending inventory and divide it by 2. And they should have had a line in between it here. They should have had a line right here. Put a line in between and divide. Okay. Gives you 15.02. Okay, folks, we've reviewed a little bit on entries and we've reviewed some methods and inventory turnover. Now, Margot also brought a question up about Cengage, and Ryan was trying to answer it and see if the rest of you had the same question. Margot, do you remember what problem it was on?
It was about notes payable.
You had a problem on notes payable, how much of it was current and how much of it long term. Now, if you have a notes payable for 200,000 on your books and 15,000 of it due this year, then you got a current liability of 15,000 and you got a long-term liability of 185,000. And I think Ryan said it was listed, but Margot had overlooked the main top sentence or something, said what the current portion was.
Well, it took me about 20 minutes.
But you found.
Around to
Now, how many is 100% finished with Chapter 7 Cengage? Make 100 on it, David? 100? Sure. 100. Okay. You need to have all Cengage finished, Chapter 6 and 7 by Thursday. On Friday. Okay. Now, we've got to go to new material. That's Chapter 8. Will not be on the test, but we've got the rest of the semester to cover 3 chapters. Now, Chapter 8 is an easy little chapter. Talks about internal control, and it talks about a bank reconciliation. All right, and we'll look at that. Now, how many of you, where you work, you handle cash right now? Okay. Now, I've asked you this before, but now it's more appropriate. So, is there any way you could steal cash, Brian, if you wanted to?
Oh, yeah,
Be easy?
pretty much.
You work at some little museum place or something.
Oh, yeah, but Miss Baker would find me and kill me. Like firing wood with her is matchstick gas.
You work at Tractor Supply. Who else handles cash? Well, where you work?
Ollie's.
They work at Ollie's. How does Ollie's protect their cash? You work at a cash register?
Yeah.
How do they protect their cash?
Bunch of cameras.
They got cameras over each cash register?
And they have 4 or 5 surrounding registers.
Are you ever short?
Yeah.
Or over? What's the most you've ever been short?
$30.
What do they do about that?
Well, usually it's a missing transaction, so computers are kind of old, and it just misses a transaction, so it just counts our register as short. And they send it off, and they look at the cameras. That's it.
The report had computers that old and leaves out transactions. You know, electronic cash register?
Yes.
Are you ever sure?
No, we're, typically, we're usually most of the time over. Because most people don't like, since we're a small cash business, most people don't want to hold like change, nothing in my inventories. The most expensive thing in my inventory is like $15.
Okay. If you, excuse me, if, you gave a, cashier $5 and they gave you back change for 50, how many of you would keep the extra $45? But how many of you would actually draw it to the attention of the cashier? How many of you take $45 back? How many of you would?
I think it depends on who the cashier is.
If it was right, you would. Okay,
Take money. I don't know, I'm definitely taking money.
$45 is big. That would buy Margot food for a month.
Dude, it's buying me food for an afternoon.
Yes. Anyhow,
Positive street, I think, yeah.
all right. If you gave the cashier $50, they just gave you change back for a $5, would you draw that to their attention?
Yep.
Or you would, real fast.
Raise 3 kinds of hell.
It works both ways, folks. Both ways. The bank gave me $5 too much one time, and I was actually teaching accounting at night. And actually, one of my night students worked at that bank. And I called and told her I had 5 too much. And, told her she'd put in 5, give it back to her when she comes twice. And she really appreciated that, because she said she'd had to stay there 2 or 3 hours late trying to find that mistake. So they got to find a mistake. A bank, you can't round off. You don't want to be short, you don't want to be over. You want to be exact and account for everything. Now, sometimes they will find out they give back a customer too much. And they want to be short, but they gotta know where, about what hour it was and everything. But anyway, all I'm encouraging to do is be honest. They give you back too much, draw it to their attention. You give them back too much, draw it to their attention. So, I bought a scratch ticket at a little store one time, and lady gave me back $5 too much, and I brought it to her attention. And I went out to my vehicle and scratched the ticket, $150. So, that paid, to be honest, I don't know. Take it for what it's worth. Okay. Now, internal control over cash. Some people use cameras, sure. You have to count your drawer when you start at Tractor Supply. You don't even have to count it. Margot, you handle cash?
Well, I used to be the cashier, but now I have waitress, but when I did, we counted the drawer before and after,
Counted drawer before you started.
and after.
But now, what if you work somewhere at McDonald's, you got 5 people using the same drawer?
That's how we do it.
You know, 4 or 5 people, you ever come up short?
Those times kind of move.
Yeah.
They're like a $20 tolerance too. If you're over that 20, you'll get in trouble with it.
So you don't get a demerit or whatever they give you, if you're over or under,
Recommend.
they recommend it.
So it's like at Lowe's, from the time it starts to the time it ends, up to 35 people may use the same drawer at one time. Because if they call code 3, everybody's got to run to the front to get on the registers in order to move merchandise through.
I know you have grandparents that mail cash in the mail. They'll mail cash for payment in the mail.
Well, no, they just mail cash like, give cash way out really. For deal or anything, like for like a birthday or something.
Oh, okay. But anyhow, I had a lady that worked at a hospital, the business office, and accounts receivable. She'd go in and work on Saturday, and it was surprising how much cash she got in the mail to pay a hospital bill. If she hadn't been honest, she could have kept the cash, burnt the envelope, took it with her, put it in the trash. And that person sent that money in, has no proof that they paid anything. They don't have a canceled check, they don't have a receipt, do they? So don't send cash through the mail. So it's like that little boy at Christmas one time. He wrote a letter to Santa Claus. No, wait a minute, he wrote it to God. It was Christmas, but he wrote it to God. And he told God that he'd lost his daddy and his two little sisters. He wanted to buy him something for Christmas and his mother. And he asked God, will he send him $100 for Christmas? Well, naturally, the postmaster opened that up. And so she went around from the other postal employees and collected money for that little boy. So she collected $50. So that little boy gets a letter from God with $50 in it. So the little boy wrote God back a thank you note. It says, thank you, God, for the $100. But you sent it through the government post office and they took out $50 in taxes. So, anyhow. Now, bank reconciliation. Now, Tanner, you have a bank account?
So,
Now, how many of you do not have a bank account? May not have one, you don't. All right, you do. How many of you do a bank reconciliation at the end of every month? Nobody?
I don't know what that is.
No, what it
It's
is?
like balance your checkbook.
Balance your checkbook.
Oh, yeah.
You do balance your checkbook.
My fiance does. I just like online, but
All right, so she's your treasurer.
pretty much.
Okay. My girlfriend get that 2 and 3. But anyhow. All right, you should do a bank reconciliation. Now, how many of you round off? When you write a check out for $2.98, you just subtract 3. You do that? That's not gonna be exacting, is it?
You got more money in there, you think, yeah.
You got a little more money in there than you think you have for Christmas. Okay, that's not a good practice to round off. Now, how about automatic deposits? How many of you have a check automatically deposited in your account? Where you work? Where you work?
Pretty much how they do it.
Where you work?
because it's either
Where you work, Margo?
you get direct deposit or Skyline.
Now, where do you work, Margo? What restaurant?
Ryan's. Ryan.
Okay, Ryan's at Preston. And, the people did very good at Ryan's.
Not always.
Since it's buffet, a lot of people pay 20 and 15 or more % if it's full-blown service.
Yeah, I understand. But we make the same as normal servers. Hourly.
Hourly,
Yeah, we make the same.
you get minimum wage,
No, it's like two.
$2 something,
Yeah.
and you have to make tips. You make enough tips to bring you up to minimum wage?
Yeah.
If you didn't, they'd have to pay you the difference. Anyhow, tipping is something a lot of people in the South didn't catch on to it until later. Know what the needs for tipping way before Southern sort of. Okay. All right, now, you have money automatically put in your account. How many of you have money automatically taken out of your account? Give me some examples. What do you have taken out?
Insurance for 6 months, book expenses, home payment. Gasoline.
Phone automatically deducted?
Yeah.
On your checking account.
I got my credit card, and then my credit card pays from my bank.
Yeah, I have a life insurance and, home security, a few things like that. Months automatically transfer out. I was doing that with Sirius XM, but I find I let them bill me every 6 months and I call them, they give me a discount to come back. So when I was, if I tell them I'm going to cancel at the end of every 6 months, they'll give me a discount, a lower rate. Has anybody experienced that? Okay. But anyhow, let's look at a couple of pages in your book. Look at page 407. 407. All right, now first off, when you do a bank reconciliation and the bank statement, let's say you have $585 on there, and your checkbook, you have $460 on your checkbook. All right. Now, when you do a bank reconciliation, which number do we work toward?
Balance.
Your checkbook balance.
That's the question, I'm sorry.
All right. You got a bank balance, $585. But on your checkbook, you got $460. All right. Which balance do you work toward?
Bank statement.
Checkbook, bank statement, not for a check your bank statement, might not have cashed something that you aren't charged.
All right. The answer is neither. All right. Your true balance may be $495. So you're working toward a true balance. And we'll do that on a statement. Okay. Now, if you transpose, if you write out a check for 85, it should be 85, but you subtracted 58 from your checkbook. Is that a good transposing or a bad transposing? Any transposing is bad, yeah. But that one's bad because that'll cause you to be overdrawn, won't it? So now, how many have been overdrawn? Okay, Robert, why were you overdrawn?
My card's credit, and I've got gas, and I didn't find work as I paid for it.
Well, you got a debit card. You got gas on your debit card. And anyway, did you have to pay an overdrawn fee?
Yeah.
How much?
20.
$20. All right, so let's say Robert got 5 gallon gas. All right, that's $2.50 a gallon. Let me draw on 50 cents with it. Let's say he's overdrawn. The bank charges it $20. That's high price for gas, isn't it?
You're gonna pay 32 plus,
Now, if you wrote out a check for that gas, $12.50, now the retailers are going to charge you $25 or $30 also. You're going to end up paying $50 for 5 gallon gas. If you're overdrawn. Margo, why were you overdrawn?
I thought there was more money in my account than what it was.
But you didn't do a bank reconciliation. But yeah, that's usually why you're overdrawn, because you have more money than you got. Or you thought somebody deposited a check, or you thought you automatically deposited money and whatever. But everybody makes honest mistakes.
So principle of the story is get a credit card.
Do what? Now, debit cards are bad if you don't keep track of what you take out on debit card. So when I taught marketing in high school, I had students that I placed on jobs. And this is in the retail business usually. So this one young lady, is her first day at work, there's a tasty freeze that she was going to work at to get some work experience in retailing of some kind. And restaurant is retailing. And anyway, this guy came in and gave her a $50 check. All right. For $2 worth of food. At that time, a hamburger and a Coke and everything was about $2. So she gave him back change for $48, right? But he came in to the restaurant asking about the owner, her boss, and like he was dear friends with her boss. So he wrote that $50 check out in pencil, and he dated it 2045. But here's the way he signed it, and I had a student who took this bad check. Here's the way he signed it. And she took that check, and the place lost $48. So again, he intentionally wrote out a bad check. You've been took, and she had been took. And they displayed that check for years under glass on account. Okay. Does Tractor Supply have a list of bad check passes or people you won't take a check on?
They're stored in the system, so if you got a check, and it'll scan the name, and if it's had problems before, it'll just deny it or decline it.
There's a night, which had problem before. There's a list somewhere in it.
In the system, we can't see it, but I mean, it's in the system.
Yeah.
Actually, I have a story about that. I work at Papa John's. I'm a delivery driver. I'd come in to get a drink, and somebody had wrote one of the drivers a check, and he gave him cash back for the check. And we're not supposed to take checks at all at Papa John's. So I had to go back and get her to write the check in the manager's name so she could cash it out and put it in the drawer. But it actually bounced. So she did not have $50. And the driver gave her money back. Like it was like a $19 order. She wrote out a $50 check, and he gave her money out of his.
He gave her change back, but
yeah, and it bounced.
did the driver lose that $50?
No. Well, I'm not sure what happened to about that because I just took the check back and I left. Not sure what all happened afterwards. I just know it bounced.
Well, I would deliver her a free pizza next time with some kind of X-lax in it or something.
We just don't go back up there.
She gets pizza.
Anyway, yeah, I'm sure he wouldn't go back there again. All right, so that's where we are in this chapter. I want you to read this chapter, of course, for Tuesday, study for your test Thursday, and see your advisor about pre-registration, and have a good day.
March 20, is the test, can we come in at 8:30?
You can come at 8:30 or 9 o'clock, and you've got to get out of here by 11,
I
though,
forgot to
so.
turn this in on Tuesday.
Okay, thanks.
Is there gonna be a multi-step income statement on this?
No, will not be a multiple step income statement. Didn't have time to give you everything.
It's just,